It is a cold day in South Jersey today. Hola, Porsche prospects. How's everyone doing today? You guys doing well? Many of you have been asking questions about the Porsche 997 S. So I wanted to take a moment in this video to go over a few quirks, features, whatever, whether you're just interested in the car, interested in Porsche, interested in being a prospective buyer. I'm gonna go over videos of that in the future too as well. Let's dig into it. 1 p.m. on a thirsty Thursday. I cannot say good morning to you from me, but if you are watching and it is morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever. Before I get started with this video, if you are not a subscriber, hit that red rectangular subscribe button down below. We are the most aggressive YouTube channel on this platform. Get after it. Also, do yourself a solid and tap that little bell notification button next to it. Advantageous for you, it is going to let you get these notifications of these videos much more frequently. If you're into this content, you'll be into doing that. It's just gonna help you out. The car is a little dirty right now and there's some things I have to do to it today. Before I get into all that stuff, first thing I wanna let you know, interesting little feature, none of these facts are in any particular order. The first thing, since I'm a little bit taller than the car, obviously it's a very small car, the door handles actually come up to open. Most door handles come out, especially like a
Lamborghini Huracan.
They pop directly out. So you can see what I'm talking about. See that? They swing up, which makes sense because when I'm gonna get into the car, you know, pulling on it, I literally am pulling up. Now that we have the door open, a good thing for me to get into would be the fact that there's so much space in this car, and a lot of space that a lot of owners have been telling me that it's difficult for them to find all of the compartments because they're kind of hidden. Like if you're looking at the door, that pops open. So on both sides, there's a little compartment back there, and also if we hop in the car, whew, look at my hand, not me. This back here, pops open, and there's a big space back there. You could fit a couple cheesesteaks back there. You could fit a head, a few cheesesteaks. It's actually not a bad idea, say if you don't want anything to roll around or whatever. I've never done that before, but that would make a lot of sense. A couple hands, say if someone tries to come at you and you chop their hands off, have nowhere to put them, don't want blood to get everywhere, throw their hands back there, you're good to go. That would lead into my next point, the fact that this car has so much space all over, not just in those spots. There are those compartments, there's the glove box, and then there is the rear hatch, which is like a trunk. But then you have this frunk, and the frunk is essential. It is very essential. I've done a lot of things on this. If you're at the YouTube call out, Street Speed 717 YouTube call out with Andy, Guitarmageddon, all these people, you'll notice I did something very delightful in this trunk. I'm not gonna tell you in this video. I'm definitely not gonna overlay anything showing what I did in this video. I'm not gonna do that. Definitely not going to do that. Another key point, especially if you're looking to purchase this car, if you do buy it and the first time you look to get fuel, if you didn't know this, it's mid-engine, obviously, so that throws things all out of whack for a regular, ordinary car. You got this bad boy. It's even in German. I wonder why. The way you pop this off too, the way you would open this so it hangs so you don't mess up your paint, and the paint on these Caymans isn't too great to begin with, but a lot of fuel attendants at gas stations, they Indiana Jones this. It's like they're rappelling off of a cliff. You can hang this down there. That's an option. For some reason they just like let it swing down because maybe they don't care. I don't know. Not everyone's bad. Not everyone's a bad person. Some people don't take their job seriously though. But there's this little hook right here. So instead of you bitching about other people doing stuff, just get out, do that. In New Jersey, this is where it's mainly an issue, or other states where you can't pump your own fuel. In Philadelphia, that's not a problem. You just get out, pump it yourself. If you mess something up, that's on you. And that's that. Just put this back on so I don't cause any check engine lights. Here's another fun fact. You can option this car from factory to have a little ski rack mount. Tactical. Very. It opens up rather simply. It's on all four corners, obviously, because that's just how ski racks physically need to work, unless you have sea suckers. And my prized possession, the wing. So this wing, there's a button, and I'll get inside the car to show you. There's a button for the wing, making it an active, aero active spoiler, and that is right there. You can turn that button on, and then you're good to go, and the wing stays up. I think it looks better that way. I don't really like the recessive ducktail that the car has in the back until the wing is up. If you don't have it on, which you hold the button down and turn it off, you can kind of hear it going down. If you do have it turned off, 75 miles per hour is where it will pop up actively. It does that. The only way you can turn that off, I believe, is if you pull the fuse or just disengage it or body slam the motor, break it some way, completely disable it. My issue with this wing is when you're in the car, you can't see if it's up or down. If my head is at the top of the car and I turn behind me, y'all probably can't even see it. I mean, the wing's up right now and you can't see it. You can't. That's the problem. That is the only problem. While we are in the driver's seat, there are a few things I'm gonna knock out. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. The first one isn't your key. Your ignition setup is on the left side. The left side. I believe the reason why they did this, it was easier entry to start the car. They started outside of the car. That was a 24-hour Le Mans. That is essentially the gist of it as far as I know. To start with the next point, let's give you a hypothetical scenario here. You have a YouTube channel. It's focused around cars. You leave the state for a few weeks to a month or so just to create content and go on rallies and experience some things and attend some events that you've been invited on. You hooked your car up to a battery tender, but when you come back, the tender stopped working for some reason, perhaps a change in temperature or something, and your car's dead. Well, that's fine if you're in any regular car that doesn't have a mid-engine and everything isn't all out of whack and elsewhere. By no means am I complaining about the fact that the car is mid-engine. This is literally the reason why I have this car. I would have bought so many other things ahead of this had this not been mid-engine and didn't have the awesome weight distribution and balance it has, which makes it such an awesome and amazingly fun and capable track car, which is what I use it for. I also daily drive it too, if you're not new to the channel. If you are, plug, subscribe. So the point I'm getting at is the fact that not only the fuel tank is up front of the fuel door, but the battery is in the front trunk too. Here's where it gets fun. You didn't lose me yet. The front trunk opens electronically from the battery, which is in the trunk, which is inside of it. Meaning if the battery dies, you cannot open that. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Don't worry, Porsche is not that stupid. I really think there's a reason why they did this. Here's the saving grace. Now, this just makes it very inconvenient, but it's not like your battery dies every day. So this isn't that big of a deal. It's just an extra step they make you take. But for the fact of the car having such good handling, and they did all this stuff, I would assume for a reason, I hope for a reason. I know Porsche is better than that. They've been designing these cars for quite a while, and they're very similar to the 911, the 987 is. Let me show you. Welcome to the footwell. Yes, this is a manual, by the way. This little spot right here. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this with my there we go. I didn't think I was gonna be able to do that with one hand and in that position, but there's a little clip right here. I don't know if you can see this. There's a little clip right here, and you pull this out. See, it's little tongs, and you pull, this is normally pushed in, and you use these to pull it out. And then it goes on like that. Probably wondering the same thing I was. Is that a manual latch? Is that gonna pop that open? Oh, cool, great. No, that is not it. You literally have to plug another power source, like a charger, up to that. That's the positive, and then you ground it. I forget where it is or somewhere. Oh, wow. $100. You put your positive in there, and then you ground the negative somewhere, you know, where a ground technically should go. I'll make another video covering all that, because if you haven't guessed it by now, yes, my car died. And after I film this video, I'm going to bring it back to life. But once you do that, you pop that open. I just figured that's something you should probably know. It's an interesting fact. One more thing, perhaps the most important thing, which I briefly covered. Seat space behind here, but my seat has to go all the way back, so I don't really have much space except for down there. And as you can see, there's just some trash there at the moment. This area, this is where she lives, the engine. Fun fact about the engine, if you want to get to the drive belts or anything, you gotta remove all this stuff. You have to remove the top too if you want to clean the engine, or if you even want to see the engine from the top, not the underneath side of it at least. You want to change belts, you want to change your water pump, you want to change a lot of other miscellaneous parts that you will eventually need to, perhaps. You got to access it from in here, which is very different for me, to say the least. Having driven and raced and instructed with a ton of these on track, I haven't owned any of these and done my own maintenance until now. I've owned BMWs and other German cars in the past and things of that sort. It's literally not the same owning it and daily driving it compared to just driving it on a track or doing it for work as a job or whatever. I'm used to leaning over a hood and doing stuff like that, or getting underneath the car, not working on the engine from the driver's seat. But again, that's not a bad thing. It's literally part of the reason why I really love this car and prefer it over most 911s. Not talking about GT cars. They are a whole different ballpark of vehicle. Premium Bose sound system in here. It is an awesome vehicle. Owner's manual, spec sheets, car and driver, everywhere else you'll see it. It states that the car tops out at 186 miles per hour. If you are familiar with Porsche, the brand at all whatsoever, they are normally aggressively conservative with all of their numbers. This is one of those circumstances where they are being conservative. One more thing inside the car, the cup holders are right there. Press a button and your cup holder comes out. If you analyze this contraption, you'll notice there's a little spot down here, and that's how they fold in and go up, and you pull it out and you can fit anything here. If you're a long-time subscriber, you'll know that a lot of Red Bulls have penetrated this cup holder. Same one on the other side too. I'm not gonna show you both. I personally don't have a lot of open drinks inside the car. I do eat in the car, I do drink in the car. I don't have buffets in here. I try to be as clean as possible. Luckily, I've never dropped anything in the car. You also have the lights over here. One thing I must point out about the cup holders is you have these two options. If you can see in there, you have very close to you, which is right over here. So if something does spill, it kind of scares me. I don't want to mess up the suede and Alcantara on this or that, or right on all of my controls. Literally, if something spills, it's going all over this stuff, like in the worst spot that it could possibly spill. It's not just on the carpet, it's gonna go to the carpet, but first it's gonna hit everything else that you kind of care about, like all your buttons. I think that's why some buttons decay so easily. Mine have not, they're pristine. I guess no one spilled anything in this car. After that option, you have all the way over here, which I can barely even reach. I'm not gonna be able to drive like this. That is very dangerous. So it's either too close or too far. You might just not want to drink. If you're driving this car, I would just personally highly recommend you just drive and enjoy it for what it is. Don't bring drinks in unless you know they're not going to spill, like little Red Bulls. Another unfun fact about the frunk, there is compartment in there for oil if you need extra oil. It's always good to have extra oil on you just because these cars are known, if the air fuel separator goes, to burn oil, or if you drive them at high RPMs often, they tend to possibly burn oil, or if you have some motor issues and you have bore scoring and things like that, then you'll burn a lot of oil. A lot. Within 500 to 1500 miles, if you're burning anywhere from half a quart to a quart of oil, that's not terrible. I would recommend checking out your air oil separator, especially if it's smoking blue when you do your cold starts. Luckily, I don't have that problem yet, which will lead to my next tip. This. You're wondering, that's just the dash, Matt. Well, you're absolutely right. But the dash is responsible for checking a lot of things. That being said, your oil. Right, you do not have an actual physical dipstick in this car. You have an oil gauge, which is cool. It's very convenient. I check it. It takes 6 seconds. Every time I start the car, before I start the car, I turn it on so the fuel pumping gauges, and then I just check. It takes 6 seconds. It has a 6-second countdown. Always do it before you start the car, because once you start the car, it might take 5 to 30 minutes to check that, because it registers the car as being hot. And no, there is no other way to check the oil unless you just drain it all and then refill it, but then you're gonna have to check it again. I would highly recommend. Oil changes are simple. DIY maintenance is quite simple on this car. You're gonna need some Torx, triple square, hex, stuff like that, but it's just like most other German cars. My BMW was a little bit similar. My BMW didn't have as much Torx or hex. This does. Just buy a kit and you're good to go. Cost of parts aren't too bad if you're not buying them at the dealership. The dealership will dig their venomous teeth into you and kill you on price with parts, unfortunately. That being said, this is an awesome car. I just wanted to point out some quirks, quick quirks, maybe pro tips, or if you're prospecting to buy the car, things that prove it is quite daily drivable. You have central locking as well, something you got to get used to. I would show you the digital dipstick, but the battery died, so I need to do that. I'm gonna go do that right now. With that being said, I'm gonna let y'all off here. Like I said earlier, subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, red rectangular button down below. Share this with anyone that you think is a prospective Porsche 987 S buyer. This is not the full overview of the car. A lot of you have been asking me for that. Subscribe down below if you aren't already a subscriber, and I'm gonna get that video out for you soon. Maybe I'll do that today. I don't know if I have enough time. Other than that, I will catch you later.